Hello, everybody. I am Kara Bunde-Dunn, the host of the Energetics Podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about all things energy, frequency, vibrations, and intuition, of course. This one's going to be a solo podcast because we are kicking off season 2, and I really wanted to talk about why I changed the name. So for those of you that have been around since season 1 and you're here for season 2, I really wanted to change from the Mediums podcast to the Energetics podcast because I truly believe that we are understanding that we're all energetic beings and that everything is energy, frequency, everything vibrates at a certain rate, and that all of that plays into our intuition. And so I started only interviewing mediums, and then I started interviewing a lot of other types of people as well. And it felt aligned for me to change the name. And I am on a mission to talk about energy and to help people understand that we all vibrate at different frequencies. And that means people, that means objects, thoughts, and emotions. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about what is energy. So I like to think of it as like the unseen. So have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift, either for the positive or the negative? Or you are around somebody and just being around them makes you feel at ease. Like there's just something about the way that they are or the aura that they put off that just makes you feel good. Or the opposite can be true. So has this ever happened to you where you pick up your phone and you're getting a phone call and you look at the caller ID and you see who it is and you immediately go, oh, I do not want to pick up the phone. This person just puts me in a bad mood. And what that means is that the energy of the way they show up or the way that you receive them is out of alignment for you. It just doesn't feel like something that you want to be around. Now, someone else can be around that exact same person and have a totally different reaction where they're like, oh my gosh, every time I'm around this person, I just love it. Like everything about their vibe just makes me happy, makes me feel great. And so the way that I try to explain this is it's really a science thing, and I'm not a scientist. And so if you ask me more details than what I understand, I'll be like, I'm in over my head. However, I like to think about it as quantum physics. And what that means is the smallest particles in the universe and how they behave is really quantum physics. So these little particles, they're little building blocks of everything around us, including us. And the super cool thing about it is that these tiny little particles, they're not really solid. They're like waves of energy. And again, these tiny little waves of energy build and create an object or a thing. And so a way that you can think about it. So I grew up in the Midwest. Friday Night Lights was a real thing. I didn't grow up in Texas, but Friday Night Lights was a thing in Minnesota too. And you're at the football stadium, or I live in Nebraska now. So the University of Nebraska football is a real thing. It's like a cult around here. And you do the wave, right? And so you're at a game and everyone stands and they go in a circle and they're doing the wave and up it comes and you can feel the roar coming all around you. And you can actually see the energy moving through the crowd. Even though it's just a person that's standing up and sitting down next to another person who's standing up and sitting down, you can actually feel that energy moving through the crowd in a circle. And so in a similar way, quantum physics tells us that the smallest level, at this very smallest level, everything is energy. It's moving and it's interacting in waves. And I like to think of it as like interconnectedness, so that everything is interconnected and the energy of a particle or a person or an object interacts with the energy of others. And Albert Einstein has this quote, and I think it really captures the concept of this. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another. So that really is the essence of we're all connected, and how I act, behave, think, and feel affects you, and how you act and think and behave and feel affects me. And now we're working to have that not be the case, right? To just have the energy from within us be what shares out in the world. But it is that we all are interconnected. And so I'm on a mission to help people understand this concept of energy and energetics, and how what we do affects other people and affects us too. And so the way I explain this is really this idea of vibrations, right? So vibrations are really the rate at which energy oscillates. Or a way to explain this might be holding a guitar. When you pluck a guitar string, that string moves back and forth really, really, really fast, or kind of fast, depending on how good a guitar player you are. But this back and forth movement of that guitar string is what we call a vibration. And the faster it moves, the higher the pitch of the sound that you'll hear. So when you think about energy, vibrations are really just kind of like that guitar. They're the rate at which something vibrates or oscillates, and how fast it's moving back and forth. So everything in the universe, whether it's a guitar string or a person or a rock or your cell phone, it all has energy that's vibrating at a certain speed. So the higher the vibration, like the higher pitch notes on a guitar, the faster and lighter. The lower the vibration, the slower and the heavier, like a deeper note on a guitar, if you will. So vibrations are just the way to describe how quickly energy is moving or oscillating back and forth. So once we understand what energy is and we understand what vibrations are, now we can start thinking about frequency. And frequency is really the frequency of our thoughts, our emotions, and our surroundings really can impact our reality. And I want to spend a little bit of time talking about this. So low frequency emotions like fear, anger, jealousy, any of those kind of really low vibrational frequencies, they bring us down. They make us feel like crud. And high vibrational emotions, or the frequency of higher vibrational emotions like love and joy and peace and calm, neutrality, can elevate us. And the way that this shows up for me is when fear rears its ugly head. It's very noticeable. I used to live with a decent amount of fear and a little bit of anxiety. And I will say the thing I was probably the most afraid of was coming out of the spiritual closet. So I was working in corporate America, and I wasn't sure I wanted to tell the world I was a spiritual medium. Telling strangers and getting referred to me, no problem. I'll talk to a total stranger. But people that have known me my whole life, I didn't want them to judge me. And so when I felt that palpitating fear, I knew that that meant I had to do it. And I also knew that I had to conquer that fear because it was holding me back. So when we are in fear, nervousness, anxiousness, any of those low frequency emotions, we are not in trust. And so I really wasn't in trust with my team and spirit and my guides and, trusting God, if you will. And so I was scared. I was like, oh my God, people are going to judge me. What if people don't accept me? What am I going to do? And of course, a whole lot of people didn't accept me. And of course, I was judged and I lost friends. And, people thought I was a weirdo and that I was in a cult and that there was something wrong with me. And I mean, the amount of things that were said behind my back and to my husband and even to my face really put me to the test. And really, truly, everything that I feared could happen actually did happen. I was scared to come out of the spiritual closet because I didn't want to lose my corporate job. And I ended up losing my corporate job anyway. Like, it's like if I wasn't willing to do it, then the universe was going to create an environment where it was going to happen for me anyway. And so that's like, when we don't listen to the whispers, we get a brick over the head. That happens. And it was very much time for me to leave the corporate world and start being a coach and a mentor and a developer of others, and to use my spiritual gifts to help people. And so being in fear was really saying to the universe, I don't trust that this is for my highest and best good. And I did, on a soul level, trust that coming out of the spiritual closet was going to be the thing that I needed to do. But oh boy, I really didn't want to do it. I was so scared. And everything I feared came true. And I still would do it today. I would do it over and over and over again. And in fact, I don't have any fear about it anymore. It's kind of highly entertaining for me to tell people what I do. For example, I had the air conditioning go out on my Ford F-150 truck. It's a pretty new truck. And we were driving back from Colorado. It was over 100 degrees, like 104 degrees. It was so freaking hot. And we were about 90 minutes from home and the air conditioning went out. Evidently, it happened from an update that didn't fix it properly or who knows what. Anyway, the air conditioning went out on my truck and I had to fix the air conditioning. And so I had an appointment and I asked for a shuttle ride back to my house so that I could, not be all hot and sweaty and get some work done. And so the guy picked me up, brought me back, and actually my husband brought me home and I asked for a shuttle to be brought back to the place so that I could pick up my truck. Anyhow, I get picked up by this driver and we're chit-chatting a little bit. And he goes, oh, well, what do you do for a living? And I said, oh, well, I'm a spiritual medium. So I channel messages for people and I'm a coach of salespeople and leaders. And, I use intuition to help guide people and help people. And he goes, oh, okay. Well, here you go, ma'am. Happy to give you a ride. And then it was like crickets and dead silence. And I was like, yeah, well, thanks, man. Have a great day. And I was like, gonna kill you with kindness anyway. But I could tell he was like, it was shocking for him to meet somebody in that way. It happened another time too. I was out for lunch with a friend and then she brought her friend and her friend said, oh, well, what do you do? It's like the age old question everybody asks, which by the way, I refuse to ask from here on out. I don't think it's the best question there is when you get to know people. What do you do for a living? As in what you do for work is who you are. And I just don't believe that that's true. But we live our lives that way, or many of us do. So anyhow, they were chit-chatting for like 30 minutes or so at lunch. And then finally she goes, oh, what do you do? And I said, oh, I'm a spiritual medium. And she goes, oh, well, that's interesting. And then and then back to her friend and talk to her friend, because I'm assuming and I'm intuitively being led that was a pretty unique experience for her. And so now I really don't have fear around telling people what I do for a living, but I did at first. And so now I'm so much in the trust that what I'm doing is in flow for me. It's what I'm supposed to be doing. It's how I'm supposed to be living my life. And a huge part of that is learning how to move from lower vibrational emotions to higher vibrational emotions. And sometimes just the smallest shift makes a huge difference. So you might be shifting from, like, let's say, fear to acceptance or neutrality, maybe even just getting to neutral about something before you can even get to accepting it. So even those small shifts, those small little incremental changes can truly change the way that you think, you feel, you act, and you behave. So what I really want for you as we explore season 2 of the podcast, and I interview all sorts of people that talk about energy, frequency, vibrations, and intuition, of course, is I really want you to become more aware of your energy. And that doesn't just mean, oh, I have the energy to show up, or I'm tired. It's really noticing vibrationally how you are living your life and what parts of your life feel grounded, feel connected, feel aligned, and what parts of your life and the way that you live, think, breathe, show up, participate in the world, what parts of it feel like you could be more in alignment. So for me, I really do some form of meditation every day. Sometimes it's just a minute or two to shift my energy. And sometimes it's a long, like an hour, because it's just what I need or what I have time for or what I feel energetically called to do. And so finding a way to ground yourself, to connect yourself to Mother Earth energy, to meditate, to really show up in a way that allows you to start your day in aligned energy is really, really powerful. So I will encourage you. I've got a free meditation. It's on the resources tab of my Karmic Leader website. But even so, whatever you want to use, there is so much power in clearing each of your chakras and centering yourself and then protecting yourself. So what I do every day is I put myself in a bubble of light and I tell my team in spirit, okay, let's co-create magic today. Let's ensure that the way that I think about things, the way that I feel about things, and the way that I act towards myself and others is in alignment with my highest and best self. Can you help me do that today? I just ask them to help me. And what I have noticed is for doing this practice for years, do I still judge people? Yes, I'm human, but I don't want to. And it isn't the energy that I want to be in. And when I do judge people or have opinions of people or talk about people, even if I'm talking about it in an exploratory way versus like a, gossipy way, I still don't feel great. So that's an indicator to me that it's a low vibrational action. And so what I have worked very hard to do is to ensure that the way I think about people and the way that I talk about people is in alignment with how I want to think and talk about people. So like if they were listening in, if they were sitting right next to me, I would say it the same way. I would think it the same way. So the thoughts that I have in my head, if those are really out of alignment with what you say, so let's just say you're really good at managing your P's and Q's. You were raised in a way that was like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So you just kind of zip it, but you kind of have some mean-spirited thoughts going on in your head. Well, that affects your energy. That is what's permeating inside of you. That is what's vibrating at a low vibrational rate. That is what's oscillating inside of you. So start paying attention to the way that you feel about yourself and others, what you think about others and yourself, and what you think and feel about environments and places that you go. So the more that you can start understanding the power of your thoughts and feelings and emotions and how to shift those, the more that you can tap into your intuition and activate the voice within. So people ask me all the time, like, okay, Kara, I'm totally into it. I'm ready for the signs. I want to be able to talk to my grandmother in spirit. I lost a son and I want to be able to speak to him. He's on the other side. And how do I do it? How do I do it? How do I do it? The very, very first thing that you can do to be able to activate that ability to talk to your guides and loved ones in spirit is to heal yourself. And I don't just mean like heal your physical body, though I'm working on that and hopefully you are too. But it's to heal your energetic body too, to heal your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions, and to be in a place where you're honoring your higher self and you're proud of the way that you think and feel and act towards yourself and towards others. And that's not for the faint of heart. Like wanting to do that is in a way signing up for, a personal growth journey that will last your entire life. You're like, okay, once I see it, I can't unsee it. Once I am spiritually awakening myself to this way of being, I can't shut it off. Now I know that there is a better way to live. There is a better way to be. And I don't want to live in low vibrational energy. I want to be more high vibes. I want my vibrational state of my emotions and my thoughts and my feelings. I want them to mirror the way that I want to be. And when you can start making those changes and shifts, you will change your life. And it will feel so powerful that when you're around your friends, it doesn't even occur to you to talk about other people in an unkind way. And when those people are not in the room, you think, you know what? They're going through a really hard time. I'm going to send them some love, and I'm going to hope for the best. And I want them to, get out of that low vibe state. And I'm going to wish and hope that for them. And I'm going to send them some loving, healing energy. And that's just how I want to live my life, thinking about people in a more kind way. And again, for me in particular, the best way that I can tell when I'm not doing that is by how I feel. Where I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel that excited about that. Or I feel a little cruddy. Or I just feel a little off when I think that way, feel that way, act that way. And it's for me too. Lord Almighty, it's for me too. And I have been working pretty diligently on my own self-talk. And you can have the most beautiful person ever, and if they don't think of themselves as beautiful on the inside and out, there's nothing that you can say to make them feel that way. So have you had one of those peeps in your life where you're like, oh my God, I'm so ugly, I'm so fat, I hate the way I look, or I just, I don't like myself, I'm always down on myself, any of those kinds of things. There is nothing that you can say to that person that can shift their core or their soul to not be that way until they're ready to roll up their sleeves and do the work and say, I don't want to view myself or others in that way anymore. And there's a certain amount of surrender that happens where we just truly surrender to something bigger than us to say, all right, I'm ready to let go of the BS. I'm ready to be done with all of that way of thinking. And I want something better for my life. So what is it? I'm here for it. Let's make it happen. So I hope that you are along for the journey and you are ready to take on this season with me, and you're ready to say, let's get into it. Let's listen to people and talk to them and hear their stories about energy and frequency and how they access intuition and how the way their mindset affects their life. And I just think it's going to be an amazing time. I can't wait for you to get in on all the goodies and really be there with me. I also just wanted to say this. I am always doing fun things, courses, coaching, retreats, readings, and I always have free resources too, meditations, guides, ways to access signs, intention setting, all sorts of things. Whatever I'm dreaming up, I always have free resources on my website. So I hope that you just follow me on Instagram, you check out the Karmic Leader website, and you just stay in tune with what's going on. And if something feels energetically aligned for you, reach out. I'm available. You can send me an email, you can text me, you can DM me, you can, reach out in any way that you want to and stay connected with me. So thank you all so much for listening. And I can't wait to keep rolling out more and more interviews and more guests and continue to shift our energy and learn how to harness our energy.